What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on this very beautiful knife here. This is the Rise Knives Tissot or Tissot 1. So right there on the back, you guys can see Tissot, Tissot, however you want to say it. And this is in via the Lefty passaround group. It is part of the package of two pretty bougie knives. With the Tissot, and you have the Gen X blades pre-march. My next video you guys will be seeing will be my full review on this. But today we're here to talk about the Tissot 1. Now I believe this is the second Rise knife I've handled. So you have Rise Knives, and then you have like Keto Knives, which is like their budget brand. I think I've handled one or two of them. But yeah, very, very interesting knife. You guys can see I have a good amount of fingerprints there on the blade. We'll clean that up real quick. Just kind of a stunning, very futuristic looking knife in my opinion. So we're going to jump right into the full review, right into the materials. You guys know, how I roll here on 814 EDC. Now, as always, this knife will be linked down below in the description. White Mountain Knives has this in stock, so if you guys are interested, they're in stock on White Mountain Knives and their website. But White Mountain, you can save some moolah if you use code like Lefty10 or your favorite content creator. So yeah, the Tissot 1 from Rise. Starting off, you have this beautiful M390 hollow ground satin blade. Really, really thin behind the edge. You might be able to see a little bit of that hollow. Has a swedge building up top. Has this very unique thumb disc apparatus right there. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it does work okay. M390 right there. I think it also says the number. Yeah, so this is number 81. I don't know how many batches were made. Titanium knife with a milled titanium pot clip. Says stylist is Richard Wu in 2024. Don't love the branding on there, but it is what it is. It is a righty only clip. This has an integral, I think they're calling it a back strap, an overlocking integral shell. So if you slide this down, I'm not going to do it fully. You guys can see the shell starts to come off. I'm not going to mess with it because I really don't want to take the knife apart and have to deal with that right now. But I believe it's for more of a customization thing. There is a black version, and I forget what the third one is. But you guys can find them on their websites, or I believe White Mountain has all three in stock. So that's kind of unique. It's different. Integrals are a pretty, cool, sort of niche world of the knife EDC world. You don't get too many integrals these days. But yeah, the milled clip looks nice. Interesting looking pivot. You have kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, an 8 pivot or an 8 spoke wheel right there on both sides. As for internal milling, there is none. And you have a inset liner lock, which is really nice. Plenty of lock bar access right there on the blade. Yeah, so some quick specs on this. An overall length from tip to butt. 8.27 inches, a blade length of 3.74, which is definitely on the larger side for me. Blade thickness of 0.18. Again, it's M390, beautiful drop point with that beautiful hollow grind. It comes in weighing 5.29 ounces, so definitely a heavy knife. Again, there's no internal milling going on. And yeah, it is designed by Richard Wu. Don't know much about him, but as far as materials go, easy 5 in my book. And moving on to the next, which is of course aesthetic. I am a fan of this knife. I love this drop point style blade. Very, very big belly, again with that hollow grind, makes it look really good. I am kind of a fan of how the thumb disc, they're calling it a thumb stud on the website, but this is definitely more of a thumb disc, and you can remove it right here. I am a fan of how it looks when it's in the open position, and the closed position doesn't look too bad. I'm just not a fan of how it operates, but I love that spoke design on the pivot. You have some nice scalloping going on right here. But overall, as far as Rise knives go, they can get pretty, I don't want to say out there, but they can get pretty kind of futuristic and, very different from what I typically go for, which you guys know are, slim, not necessarily slim, but sleek, kind of just, streamlined, easy designs. And this kind of fits that bill in my opinion. It looks really good. You pretty much have a straight line right here. Not a very intense design, just a very nice, easy, beautiful lines. I think it looks really good. I was pretty interested in it whenever Kev was showing it off in the group chat, and I'm glad I got to check it out because it looks really good. It functions really good, and it's definitely a cool knife. Not, spoiler alert, not something I'm going to go out and buy, but it does, prove to be a very, very solid knife. And from aesthetically speaking, I have to give it a 5 as well. Next up is action. Now for the thumb stud, or the thumb flick, it works really good. You kind of just put your thumb right there up into this kind of crevice with the meat of your thumb pad. Fires in, fires out, I should say. Very, very nice, very snappy, very responsive. The detent is tuned very, very nicely. It's very snappy. Fires right out, very repetitive. Now, where I come to have an issue with it is the middle finger flick. It is just an awkward, you kind of have to adjust your finger because this is where my finger wants to fall. But as you guys can see, I am just, well, that time I did it, but I typically just kind of fire off of it because of the location and the stout detent. It's definitely not the easiest, in my opinion, to reverse flick, which is kind of a bummer because, of course, that's my preferred way to flick the knife. But all things considered, it's definitely more of a, thumb flicker. I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just kind of how your hands are on the knife. I would have loved to seen, maybe a little bit more sculpting going on down there with the fuller or swedge built in. But as far as middle finger flicking goes, not the best knife, but a good thumb flick. And you can, of course, slow roll it out. And then that action is just really, really smooth, very drop shotty. Just a smidgen of blade play, but it's pretty tight. Drops to your nail. Barely have to move the knife. Drops home. I don't know if Kevin put skiffs in this before he sent it out, but it is very, very buttery smooth. And Reich, I believe, from all the reviews and things that I've seen, has always had pretty good, action when it comes to their more, bougier knives. And the Tissot one is definitely one that has great action. So, great closing action, great thumb stud action, or thumb flick action, I should say. Mediocre middle finger flick, which again is a bummer for me. So I typically don't give kind of low actions on, good smooth knives like this, but I'm going to go 4 because if you can't middle finger flick or reverse flick a knife consistently, for me, that's kind of a bummer. And I can typically, I just did one, missed one, got, I hate having to think about it. And a lot of the times I'm just doing this and it gets a little old. So we'll go 4 on the action. Next up is acoustics, excuse me. Solid acoustics. I really would have liked to seen some internal milling in there to really have gotten those acoustics to sing and to give you those more high-pitched rings. Honestly, we just get kind of a nice snap and thwack. I mean, it's good, but again, for it to get a high score on the acoustics, it has to be great. And it's really good. It's not fantastic. It's not great. So I'm going to go 4 as well. We'll go back-to-back 4s with the action and the acoustics. Next up is ergos. The ergos are very good on this knife. So you have a milled titanium pot clip that, it does stand out a little bit more than typical milled clips do. You have a little bit more leverage, kind of some, not sharp angles, but definitely kind of pokey angles. But you miss most of that, and I get, most of the sharpness on the back here out of the palm of my hand when I'm choked back. But this is a very, very comfortable grip. You have kind of some finger indentations right there. It's a skinny knife, skinny handle, I should say. It's not very tall. You don't have too much going on here, and you have a lot of real estate choked back. The thumb discs, or studs, I guess if they're calling that, has some jimping. So saber grip works really good. Hammer grip works really good. Reverse hammer grip for doing, you know, pull cuts works really good. And then of course you have this choil up here, which you can choke up to. You know, also works really good. And you can even get a little bit closer to the blade if you need like precise control when you're doing certain cuts. Now I will say long-term use, I don't think this would be the most comfortable hard use knife, you know, to be utilizing a lot, because, you know, they are, again, skinny handles, but if you really squeeze down on it a lot, it does kind of dig into your skin a little bit. And I feel like if you were utilizing this for, again, a longer period of time for more work cuts and for more working around whatever you're doing, it might be a little bit cumbersome. But as far as EDC, you know, tasks go, should be fine. I've had no issue with it, although I haven't, you know, really cut too much stuff with it. But it is a very comfortable grip. You just have the handles down here digging in a little bit, but not the end of the world. I just wanted to, you know, let you guys know that. Choked up is very, very comfortable. There's really, you know, no sharp edges. It's just the way the handle is cut in. Not sharp, like I said. It just is a little bit annoying if you are like really squeezing it hard. But most of you guys are probably not using this for like an outdoor heavy duty work knife. This is more of like kind of a, you know, higher end classy knife you carry. But just wanted you guys to be aware of that. So as far as things considered with ergos, but I mean, I guess before I rate it real quick, with that hollow grind, I mean, you get a good purchase on here. This thing is just going to slice through things with that beautiful thin edge. M390, you know, gray steel, you guys all know that. So we'll go 4.5. It's very, very comfortable, but I do have to knock some points for, you know, kind of that annoying void down here, I guess, if you really grip into it too much. But all things considered, pretty good. Next up is carry. Carry's not bad. I mean, it's a bigger knife. You do have about that much sticking out of your pocket, which is not that big of a deal. You have no flipper tab or no jimping down here if you are going down beside it to possibly get, you know, anything out of your pocket below it. No risk of pulling it up out of there. It is a little bit heavy, you know, coming in at about 5.5 ounces. I don't love that. I would have loved to seen some internal milling. Any way to reduce the weight would be really nice. I mean, I get it. It is a bigger knife. Of course, you have, you know, a 3.74 inch blade on there. But I mean, I didn't carry it in jeans, so that might be a little bit different because it is so warm here in Western Pennsylvania. I carried it in shorts. I did carry it in gym shorts, I think, once or twice around the house, and when my wife and I went for a walk around the apartment complex. Probably a little bit too big and a little bit too heavy for shorts, you know, gym shorts carry. Yeah, I mean, the pot clip pops in and out pretty well, but again, it is a little bit big and a little bit heavy. But I mean, it comes together in a nice slim package. So we'll go 4.5 again. You know, I really would have loved to see it be a little bit lighter, and for them to be able to mill some stuff out. I feel like definitely on the show scale side, they could have. I mean, that's a pretty thick slab of titanium right there. They could have milled out all of this on the inside, but they didn't. So we'll go 4.5 on the carry. Now for price point / value / would I recommend this knife? You know, I enjoyed the knife. Did it blow me away? Did it, you know, make me want to go buy it? No, but it's cool checking out stuff like this because, you know, this is a knife that I would just see and I would never have any interest to buy. But, you know, getting to check out stuff like this from Kevin is really cool because, you know, again, this is never something that I would ever have come across my table otherwise. So I really enjoy getting to check out cool futuristic stuff like this. I mean, this especially is a knife that I would never, ever in a million years consider purchasing. I think it's, you know, I think it's cool, but it's definitely not my speed. This is a little bit more my speed, but still not something I'm going to go out and buy. The price point on the Rise Knives Tissot 1, however you say it, is $365, which if you use someone's code, like Lefty10 on White Mountain Knives, you can save some change, get it down $330 or so. I think that's a fair deal. I even think $365 is not bad at all. You're getting M390, again, beautiful hollow grind on the blade. Of course, it's technically an integral, which is, I guess, pretty cheap for an integral, so that does make it for a pretty solid value. And you get that overlocking clamshell, you know, kind of, I don't want to say it's a gimmick, but, you know, apparatus back here, which is pretty cool. So yeah, $365, I guess that's a good value, considering you can get it on White Mountain Knives and get it at an even lower price, makes it an even better value. And can I recommend it? Yeah, I mean, it's a good knife. If you guys like the way this looks and think it's are a fan of Rise Knives, then sure, go out and buy it, go out and purchase one. I enjoyed it, but like I said, nothing that I learned from this knife is going to make me want to go buy it and purchase it and add it to my collection. But it is really good. And if you are a fan of, again, kind of futuristic, kind of, sleek, different designs, then yeah, it's a very solid knife. It's well made. I will say that Reich does make a very solid knife. Fit and finish is fantastic. All the things you want in a good solid knife are here, present with the Tissot one. So we'll go 5 out of 5 on the price point and the value, because again, I do think having that integral clamshell makes a pretty good value, or kind of gives some more points for the value segment here. So we'll count this up real quick. Okie dokie, guys. So I have the Tissot one coming in at a score of 32, which lands it in the great category. Honestly, I think that's fine. I mean, that's probably a little bit lower than what some of you other guys would have this ranked, but I mean, to me, I think it's not a fantastic knife. It's not a perfect knife. I think it being a great knife is perfectly fine for me in my categories. So, but let me know down below. Have you guys seen these before? Have you picked up one? Do you love it? Do you hate it? As always, I would love to hear what you guys have to say, but I'm going to wrap this up now. So this was my full review on the Rise Knives Tissot 1. Huge shout out to Kevin over at Lefty DC for throwing this into the pass round and letting us check it out. I always appreciate you, Kev, and I always appreciate you guys as well. But I'm going to wrap this up now. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, night, day, whenever you're watching this. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.